And June and then after.
Just ask her. I can hear the screaming in my office.
Alone.
Wow. Well,
I was so pretty.
I don't think either Miller or I are going to touch that. Hey, how are you?
And then on my way out,
Cubby's gonna make it.
Pretty minor recognition.
It'll be a long meeting if you try.
I was going to say, you really take it off.
Is that what it is? I didn't know. I was just walking this way.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to the August meeting of the full McLean County Board. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll have an invocation by Member Gordon. Please rise.
God of goodness, we give thanks to you for the gift of life itself, wonder beyond words, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and much more we offer thanks. But our world and our nation are troubled, O Lord. May we resolve to confront as peacefully as possible the forces of hatred and violence that too often affect people's lives in places near and far. And we pray for the victims of violence in all its forms. We ask you to be with those who are in pain, in difficulty, and in need. Guard and protect the health of all our board members and staff, and the health of all our family members. We pray also for healing and comfort for our good friend, Rich Buchanan. And be with those who help to ease people's pain, resolve their difficulties, and fulfill their needs. Guide the leaders of this nation and of all nations in paths of righteous acts, compassion, and humility. Inspire us this day with wisdom, vision, and courage, and mutual respect as we act on behalf of all whom we serve. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
James Sollner.
Here.
George Wendt. Lori Woolrab.
Here.
Josh Barnett.
Here.
Jacob Beard.
Here.
William Casely. Absent. Don Cavallini.
Here.
Chuck Erickson.
Here.
George Gordon.
Here.
Mark Johnson.
Yep.
Randall Martin. Absent. Catherine Metzger.
Present.
Scott Murphy.
Here.
Eric Rankin.
Present.
Carla Robustelli. Susan Schaefer.
Here.
Paul Segabiano.
Here.
David Seltzer.
Here.
John McIntyre.
Here.
I lost count.
Well, we have 17 members present and 3 absent. We do have a quorum. We'll move on the agenda to appearance by members of the public and county employees. We have 5 speakers this morning. First of all, I'd like to invite Ms. Beth Wisman, Director of the McLean County Museum, up to the podium to speak for the McLean County Museum. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Beth Wisman, as Chairman McIntyre said, and I'm the new executive director now for about a year and a half. Greg Coos was before your body at that time, if you remember, celebrating 39 years with the museum. And we have moved forward with the plan that he put in place, and it's really an amazing time for the museum. A lot is going on. I want to recognize just a couple of our board members here with us this morning. Our board president, Bill Zimmerman, is with us, and Rob Fazzini, who is right next to him. And of course, Chairman McIntyre also.
The other 3,000. They have a large foyer that would provide a large number of voters protection from the elements in the event of rain, snow, or whatever. And we just think we need to really rethink the idea of what we're trying to do and to make sure that we have community input so that everybody has an opportunity to voice their opinion about any proposed moves. And that's it. I hope you take that into consideration and look to the community to provide input. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our last speaker today is Ms. Takesha Stokes. Is Takesha here? Welcome, Takesha.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me just a few moments to speak. I am also speaking in regards to the consideration of moving the polling places. Mine are going to come in a form of questions and thoughts for consideration. Have you considered a town hall meeting or forum to gather input from the impacted residents? And if not, why was that not considered or done? To take a note that the majority of voters who use the Orlando polling place walk there to vote, so moving it to Heartland Community College will directly impact them, and they won't have the as easy of accessibility as they do now. And then how and when do you plan to communicate the change to impacted voters? And then I'm not in opposition to what Mr. Richardson shared, just a thought though. If having the polling places in our schools shows our children, who are the future voters, the importance of voting. So I'm not totally in opposition to having it there, because they see their parents, they see members of the community coming to vote, and hopefully that will have an impact on them so that they know that that's something that they should be doing as a citizen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks to all our speakers for their time today with us. We'll move on to the consent agenda. You have it before you. I entertain a motion. Motion by Member Segabiano. Is there a second? Second by Member Cavallini. Comments or questions or discussion? If none, all in favor of accepting the consent agenda as presented, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Next, we have item G, approval of resolutions, and congratulations. And at this time, I'd like to invite Property Committee Chairman, Member Segobiano, to the podium, along with our honorable member of the County Board and former Mayor Richard Buchanan. Please join us at the podium.
Well, this is quite a moment for me. Rich and I go a long ways back, and I think sometimes we all need to be reminded that as we come into the world, we're all given a certain amount of time, and it's what we do at that time is how we will all be remembered. And certainly, the history books is going to remember this gentleman here to my right. He's done so much, and I would have to say that it's a happy occasion for me to present this resolution, but it's also a sad day because, as I said a moment ago, we go back a long ways together. And through the good. Well, I'm dating myself. So, Rich, this resolution of appreciation is presented by the McLean County Board. And whereas Richard Buchanan announced his resignation as a member of the McLean County Board, and whereas Richard Buchanan has shown tremendous commitment and dedication to the community in his 40-plus years of service to the citizens of McLean County, and whereas Richard Buchanan has provided invaluable knowledge, experience, and leadership as the mayor of the city of Bloomington, as a liquor control commissioner, and as a member of the McLean County Board. And whereas it is fitting and appropriate for the McLean County Board to recognize the accomplishments, dedicated service, and contribution of Richard Buchanan to the McLean County community, and now therefore be it resolved that the McLean County Board and the citizens of McLean County extend their sincere appreciation to Mr. Richard Buchanan for his leadership, commitment, and dedicated service to the citizens of McLean County, and wish him the very best. Be it further resolved that the McLean County Board hereby direct County Clerk to prepare a certificate of this resolution to be presented to Mr. Buchanan with a sincere appreciation, approved by the McLean County Board this 15th day of August, 2017. Attest Kathy Michael, Clerk of the County Board, and McLean County, and John McIntyre, Chairman of McLean County Board. Richard Buchanan, thank you so much.
Stay here with me, we'll give you a clap. Ditto here with Mr. Segoviano. Rich and I go back 45 years. We're fellow soldiers together as well. It's my personal pleasure as well to present Rich with this plaque, and I'd like to read it. It says, McLean County, in recognition of Mr. Richard Buchanan for 4 years, 8 months of service as member of the McLean County Board through December 3rd, 2012 through August 8th, 2017, including service as a member of the Land Use and Development Committee and Finance Committee, and as Vice Chairman of the Transportation Committee and Property Committee. On behalf of the citizens of McLean County Board expresses appreciation and gratitude for your dedicated service to improving the quality of life for all of our citizens of McLean County. Presented this 15th day of August, 2017. My honor, sir, to present you with this. Sir. Say a few words.
Yes, I've been told by the first sergeant at my house, at least, keep it brief. And the few words are really sincere. This is so neat for you to be able to do this. And so she wrote it out for me.
You want to read a speech? I'll hold this for you.
No.
You're okay? Okay.
He just asked me if I want to read a speech. No. My speech, Mr. Chairman, is with all sincerity, thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you all very, very, very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on now to the report of our standing committees. Executive Committee Vice Chairman Solner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Executive Committee has a number of items to present today. Item 7A, 1A, request approval of service agreement with the Illinois Department of Innovation and Technology for data transmission services for law enforcement agencies through the information technologies, and I so move.
Motion by Vice Chairman Solner. Is there a second? Second by Member Johnson. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Next item is 7A, 1B, request approval of a resolution allowing the county board chairman to enter into a reciprocal agreement for exchange of information with the Illinois Department of Revenue through the Administration Office, and I so move.
Motion by Member Solner, second by Member Schaefer. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Next item is 7A, 1C, request for reconsideration pursuant to Section 2013E of the McLean County Code of item 7A, 1C from the July 18, 2017 McLean County Full Board Meeting. Request approval of resolution amending the funded full-time equivalent position resolution for the 2017 Fund 001, Department 002, County Administration. At this time, I'm not ready to let that move on, so I'm not going to make that motion.
Okay. Do I hear any other motions from the floor? If none, then we'll move on.
All right, next item is 7A1D. Request approval of emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2017 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance through the administration. This requires a 2/3 county board approval pursuant to 55 ILCS 56-1003, and I so move.
Motion by Member Solner, second by Member Gordon. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It requires 2/3 vote. Are there any dissenting votes? If none, the motion's carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all we have to present today. There are a number of items in our packet and our unapproved minutes.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your consideration on that resolution as well. Let's move to the Property Committee, Chairman Segoviano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Property Committee brings no items for action today.
Thank you, sir. Justice Committee report, Chairman Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Justice Committee brings 5 items for action this morning. Item C1A, request approval of a grant/agreement pursuant to the Victims of Crime Act, VOCA, between the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority and the County of McLean through the Children's Advocacy Center, pages 63 through 84 in our packet, and I'll move that.
Motion by Chairman Gordon, second by Member Schaefer. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried.
Item C1B, request approval of the Violent Crimes Victims Assistance Program grant agreement by and between the State of Illinois Office of the Attorney General and the McLean County Children's Advocacy Center, pages 85 through 99, and I'll move that.
Motion by Chairman Gordon, second by Member Metzger. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried.
Item C1C, request approval of the Violent Crime Victims Assistance Program grant agreement by and between the State of Illinois Office of the Attorney General and McLean County CASA, pages 110 through 115 in our packets, and I'll move that.
Motion by Member Gordon, second by Member Cavallini. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried.
Item C1D, request approval of a resolution amending the funded full-time equivalent positions resolution for 2017 Fund 0129, Department 0062, Children's Advocacy Center on page 116 in our packet. I move that.
All right, motion by Member Gordon, second by Member Segoviano. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried.
And item C1E, request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2017 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 0129, Department 0062, Children's Advocacy Center, as an emergency appropriation. As we know, this requires approval by 2/3 of the board membership pursuant to 55 ILCS 5/6-1003, and I move that.
Motion by Chairman Gordon, second by Member Robustelli. Comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there any dissenting votes to be recorded? Motion's carried.
I'll be happy to entertain any questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Let's move on to the Finance Committee. Chairman, who we have here? Member Sulzer is here. I'm sorry.
Rankin and I are interchangeable at times, so we bring one item for action, Mr. Chairman, and that's a request to change the normal polling places for the 2018 election and future election year cycles, and I would move that.
Motion by Chairman Sulzer, second by Member Soldner. Are there comments or questions? Member Woolrab.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In committee meeting, I had concerns about moving these precincts to Heartland. It wasn't quite clear to me that it would necessarily be in the best interest of the people living in those precincts. Last week, I spoke with Dr. Daniel and his communications person, Ms. Brown, Chief Bleichner of Normal Police Department, and his assistant chief operations person, and understand now that and after listening to Mr. Richardson today, I do understand that the schools have some deep concerns about allowing the public in during a school day. Could there be some alterations that would permit voting and make it easier for everybody? Perhaps there could, but I am okay with those changes to the precincts 12, 10, 23, and 13. However, 29, I now understand that Kathy Michaels, our clerk, has worked with the town of Normal to find some more room in the substation in the Orlando area in precinct 29. And so I want to make the following amendment to that, offer the following amendment. So I move to amend the item on the floor, item 7D1A, to authorize the chair to execute a resolution moving only precincts 12, 23, and 13 to Heartland Community College and leave precinct 29 in the Normal Police Department substation.
Thank you, Member Woolrab. There's a motion to amend. Is there a second? Second by Member Sulzer. Any more comments or questions about the amendment?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I just want to thank Member Woolrab for her work on this, and the clerk, and also the citizens who gave us some input. Member Woolrab did a lot of legwork checking this out, and I think it's a great solution, and I believe the clerk feels that way as well. So
Thank you, duly noted. Are there other comments or questions about the amendment? If none, then we'll vote on the amendment to the resolution as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Do we still have the original motion to vote on? As amended? Oh, that's it?
Point of order.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, we voted just now on the amendment, not on the main motion.
Right. We amended the main motion.
I will refer to legal
Thank you.
on this. Thank you. They're willing to accept that. Let's take a vote on the original motion as amended. Member Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My attention came to this issue probably later than it should have. I share concerns that have been voiced this morning. I have concerns about the distance from the precincts affected, between those precincts affected, 13, 12, 23, and 13, and Heartland Community College. I'm concerned about the transportation available. I have no information on how many people might be inconvenienced. Convenience is a consideration in voting. Voting is that important that I believe personally that people should make every effort to vote. I'm also well aware that in county board districts, so-called out in the county, the greater distances are involved very often between people's residences and a polling place. I am concerned, however, with the impression that I have, and I think this impression is accurate, that there may be more people in this affected area, particularly in the area represented by at least two people who spoke this morning, who may have transportation difficulties getting to and from Heartland Community College. I have no problem with the rationale for moving polling places out of schools. I think the presentation by Mr. Richardson was clear and persuasive. I do believe that when students, when school students see adults voting, that can be a good thing. But I think it's outweighed by security concerns involving schools. But I am not prepared to support this motion as presented or as amended because of the distances involved traveling to and from Heartland Community College.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion on the floor as amended. Is there further discussion? Member Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Both of these precincts are in my county board district. I'm fairly well aware of the people that are served by both of the polling places. The amendment addresses the transportation issues for those that would be affected, most greatly. From my point of view, since I have seen the congestion difficulties presented with having both of the polling places at both Parkside Junior High and the elementary school, I fully support moving to Heartland. And the people on that side of town, the reason why there's so much congestion is the majority of them come by car to vote. Therefore, it would not be very difficult to drive a short, less than maybe mile and a quarter from Parkside Junior High down the road to Heartland Community College. I don't see that people for the two polling places, moving them from the school to Heartland would be inconvenience whatsoever. They would actually be better convenienced given they would be parking in a larger parking lot at Heartland and having a lot of easier time getting in and out at time of polling. I know that I have worked that polling place, shaking hands as people have approached, and seen many cars turn away that I knew were there to vote because of the congestion and because of the crowded parking lot. So I think that this is a good idea. I think that Unit 5 is correct in protecting students, and I think that we should move forward and vote on this.
Thank you, Member Johnson. Are there other comments? Member Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that there's really no reliable and definitive number that has studied the use of public schools used for polling locations. I do know that a large percentage of polling locations across the United States are housed in schools for lots of reasons. They tend to be located throughout the community. They have large areas in a building in which to situate a polling place, such as gyms and cafeterias. And schools have sufficient parking for voters. They're the best ones that are accessible for voters with disabilities, and they happen to be within their communities. One of the concerns that I have is that I'm not sure that all options were exhausted, that enough discussion on this hasn't happened. In other states, there has been movement to address the concern, and I think the concerns are real with safety. I'm not sure, I'll recall off the top of my head, but I'm probably one of the few people on this board that has two children that are actually in Unit 5 schools that are attending, and safety is my first and foremost concern when it comes time to my children. At the same time, are there other options? Could we have talked to Unit 5, which I am cognitively aware of as I have to work with this on seemingly a monthly basis, of an in-service day? If the problem is that the children are present, remove the children. Have them at a day where the children are at home. They do it on a monthly basis almost anyway with in-service day. Other states like New York have done this. Is it a possibility for us to do that as well? For that reason, I'd like more research on the topic. I'd like more discussion about this. I'd even like that discussion to include Unit 5, maybe specifically with the Finance Committee. With that, I'd like to refer this back. So I'll make a motion to refer this back to the Finance Committee for further discussion and to see if we can expand the horizons of this and get a few more players into this. This addresses some of the concerns I think that we have within the community, and I think that this will go a long way. What's another month?
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor to refer back to the Finance Committee. Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Second by Member Selzer.
The only thing I'd like to state is I don't disagree with Mr. Rankin at all, but there is a timing issue. There's a timing of this current polling places having to be published. As the clerk stated, they have to mail out voting cards. As people have asked, when will we be notified? I really do hope that you would consider withdrawing the motion, and we'd still bring it up at Finance and have those meetings as people have suggested. There is just it truly is a matter of timing right now when you look at when the next election cycle is and the cost of re-educating everybody if we keep it as is. So I'm not opposed to it. I just think we would be rushing through hearings. So it's just, I don't think it's a good idea at this point. I do think addressing it is. I think delaying this is not.
There is a motion on the floor and a second to refer this back to Finance Committee. Member Segoviano would be next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I think that, those who appeared before us today from the public made some very valid points, and I would agree with the former speakers. I think safety is extremely important for our children. However, I don't think I want to be in a position of micromanaging Kathy Michael's office. I think she does an excellent job in trying to serve all the people in McLean County. However, it seems like we're talking about parking lots and available parking. Do we sometimes forget that people have to walk? I mean, people have to walk to whether they're going to the grocery store, they're pulling the wagon with their children, or what? There's other means of transportation. It's called our feet. And there are a number of people who have to walk to polling places. And so, I'm not opposed to, sending this back. And Mr. Seltzer answered one of my questions. What is the time limit on this? Do we have time to restudy this? Because, the one speaker talked about kids in school, being exposed to the voting rights there. And I think that's very plausible. But also, does it create a safety problem for our kids? And I think it does. But walking for people to Heartland Community College, I mean, you really have to want to drive to get there, and then you have to find the place where you're going to be voting. So I think, if there is ample time to reconsider this, and it's been suggested that we meet with Unit 5 and see if there's any alternative, I think there's a lot of alternatives out there. So I applaud the speakers who brought difference of view to us today, and I would support, that we send this back.
Member Wendt?
Yes, I think we should give deference to our board member who comes from that district, who feels that this movement is proper and is very consistent with his constituency. So I think we should defer to him. And plus the fact that I think that Kathy Michael's office has done as much study as she can on this, and it needs to get done so that she can get out the corrected cards to the voters. So I think we should just go ahead and vote on the main motion and let it stand. Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor to refer back to Finance. Is there any other discussion at this time? Member Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just to ask a clarifying question, if I may, and whether it's appropriate for Member Selzer to answer this, or Clerk Michael, if she feels it appropriate. If we refer this back and it's delayed a month, is that going to mess up the county clerk's office in sending out voter cards in time? There was a little bit of discussion about that, but I never actually heard someone say, yes, that's going to ruin, us being able to send these out on time. If someone could just clarify that for me.
I can refer this to our clerk, Kathy Michael, if there is no objection from board members to answer that question. Any objection? Okay, Ms. Michael.
Thank you. I and my offices have spent months looking for locations for this move, and certainly support the schools, and that's why we've spent months driving around those areas and trying to find accommodations that would suit the large amount of voters for those 3 precincts. We certainly stand by our recommendation for Heartland. It's an excellent location, just beautiful, huge, all sorts of parking, more so than at the schools, because we did our research and found that out. As far as transportation, and that's, certainly, well, let me just say that from wherever you make a move, someone's can't walk to the polling place, and I totally understand that concern. We can't accommodate everybody within a walking distance. Now, we did contact Connect Transit, and I haven't taken the bus route. I hope to do that this week. I would hope to do that last week. They have, I think, a bus route there to Heartland 3 times an hour, but I'd have to double check that. They are also going to offer free transportation for voters. So the voters could look up, where the closest spot is for them to take the bus. We also confirmed with Checker Cab that they will be offering free cab service, and we'll hope to promote that with our local media. And then, of course, the individual parties, Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independents, do this also and offer this service for anyone needing free rides. And they make that pretty public as well to their constituency. So we truly believe that anyone needing a ride there that isn't within walking distance would be well served by these examples for you. We stand by this recommendation and highly recommend it. And I know that Heartland Community College is very excited about this move as well.
Member Solner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That sways a number of my concerns. Again, I think that I was aware that there is public transportation there. If the cab companies and the parties are offering free transportation, all you have to do then is walk from your door to the street, pretty much. So I think that's a good idea. I too like the idea of the students seeing their parents and their citizens voting, but I think safety's got to be a major consideration at that. So at that point, I'm willing to support Member Walrab's amendment. Thank you.
There's still a motion on the floor to refer to finance and more discussion.
Yeah, I was just going to say 2 things. Point of order. I mean, it's not another round. A, the conversation should have been confined to the motion that was on the floor, and it was not. B, there was a direct question that was asked to the clerk about whether or not this would cause problems in terms of sending out the cards, if I were to understand Mr. Barnett's question correctly. And I'm not sure that I heard an answer to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Would you like to respond to that?
Anything is possible. It would cause a delay in our office as we now approach there's months to get ready in time for the March election. Looking for a recommendation from me, it would cause a lot of extra work for our office that I don't believe is needed, because I think this is a good recommendation that we should pursue. And I don't think spending any more staff time or delaying for the election would be helpful. It would delay the election process.
Thank you. Are there any comments? Member Gordon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a concern that is related to my vote on whether or not to send it back to Finance. And if I may, I'd like to direct it to County Clerk Michael. Did I understand correctly that you referred to free bus service being made available for voters who might lack their own transportation to and from Heartland College?
On election day?
Yeah.
Yes.
On election day.
Yeah, we spoke with Connect Transit official. I'll get that name for you if you need it.
No, not a problem.
And they indicated through an I voted sticker coming back, or if they have their voter registration card there. And we'll still address how they will accommodate or believe someone who isn't registered to vote yet. And I think they're willing to be very flexible with that to and from the polling place.
My follow-up consideration, thank you for that response. My follow-up consideration is how that's going to be publicized and how well the word will get out to potentially affected residents.
Well, in our mailing that we're going to do, we will include the bus schedules along with their new voter registration card and the number for Checker Cab. And of course, relying on social media, of which you probably know I'm very active. That can't cover everyone. So a lot of things, any way you all can help with your constituents to get the word out as well. If I need to go to door, I certainly will.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Member Sulzer, second round.
Just a real quick one that I want to make sure is a point of reference for everybody. If you mentally go to Rab in Maine, where College Station is, a lot of college students live there, and then next to that, North Meadow Village Manufactured Homes Park that's right next door there. Those residents all currently go across 2 precincts over to Normal West to vote. And so when we talk about people that are going to be inconvenienced, this move is going to convenience a heck of a lot of people who have greater transportation needs. So I just want people to understand that that was looked at, and they're going to be able to walk just down the sidewalk to Heartland, which is, there is a plus to that. So I just wanted to make sure that we looked at some of the positive of these changes, not just the negatives. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further comments? If none, then I believe I'll refer and call a question for this. I believe it'd be appropriate.
Mr. Chairman, could
Yes,
we have
sir.
a point of clarification?
Yes.
There's a couple of them. What are we voting on?
I'm going to get ready to state it right now. We are voting on the motion as amended to be referred back to the Finance Committee. Okay, a yes vote agrees to refer this back to the Finance Committee, and no vote is to not refer it back to the Finance Committee. And I think we'll have a roll call vote on this, please.
James Solner. No. George Wendt.
No.
Lori Walrab. No. Josh Barnett. No. Jacob Beard. No. Don Cavallini. No. Chuck Erickson. No. George Gordon. No. Mark Johnson. No. Catherine Metzger. No. Scott Murphy. No. Eric Rankin. Carla Robustelli. Yes. Susan Schaefer. No. Paul Segabiano. Yes. David Seltzer. No.
Excuse me, we have 4 yeses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 12 noes.
3 yeses. 13, 3
yeses.
13 and 3. 3 yeses and 13 no. So the motion is defeated. We'll move back to the regular motion as amended, and we'll take a roll call vote on that this time. A yes vote approves the amendment to the resolution as stated in your packet, and approves the motion for the amendment as well. The amended motion. Motion as amended, as I previously stated. Thanks for all your help. We'll get there. We're okay with it. Does everybody understand what we're voting on? Member Johnson?
And the amendment Ms. Wolrab has presented.
As she has presented.
As she has presented.
That is worded in our minutes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll call the roll at this time.
James Solner. Yes. George Wendt. Yes. Lori Walrab. Yes. Josh Barnett. Yes. Jacob Beard. Yes. Don Cavallini. Yes. Chuck Erickson. Yes. George Gordon. Yes. Mark Johnson. Yes. Catherine Metzger. Yes. Scott Murphy. Yes. Eric Rankin. No. Carla Robustelli. No. Susan Schaefer. Yes. Paul Segabiano. No. David Seltzer.
We have 13 yeses and 3 noes, and the motion as amended as carried. Let us move on then. Any other reports from finance this time? No. Okay.
Our packets and the things.
We'll move to the Health Committee report. Chairman Member Schaefer.
The Health Committee has one item for action today. It's request approval of an ordinance in the McLean County Board amending the 2017 Combined Appropriation and Budget Ordinance for Fund 105, and this requires 2/3 vote, and I so move.
Motion by Member Schaefer, second by Member Cavallini. Are there comments or questions about the motion? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Are there any dissenting votes to be recorded? If none, the motion is carried.
Our unapproved minutes are on pages 25 through 31 of your packet.
Thank you, ma'am. Land Use and Development Committee Chair Member Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Land Use and Development Committee has no items to be presented for action.
Thank you, sir. Transportation Committee Vice Chair Member Metzger.
The Transportation Committee has one item for presentation, 7G1A, request for approval of funding for the local highway safety improvement program for County Highway 14 for fiscal year 2012 or 2020, and I move that.
Motion by Vice Chair Metzger. Is there a second? Second by Member Selzer. Any comments or questions? If none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
And I'm happy to entertain any questions. Our general report is found in the unapproved meeting minutes on pages 9 through 11.
Thank you, Mrs. Metzger. Let's move on to the report of the County Administrator, Mr. Watson.
I have nothing further for the board this morning. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Let's move on to any other business or communication to be brought up at this time. Member Solner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple things. The first thing I wanted to mention, I wanted to remind the members of the CDAP subcommittee to meet up here after the meeting. We're going to discuss finding a time when we can all get together again, and that's all we're going to discuss. I think, if you wouldn't mind, could you also remind the public on the reappointment process for Member Buchanan's replacement?
Any members of the public who wish to apply to be members of this board as a replacement for Member Buchanan may contact our office. There is a link online of our county board website for board applications, which you can pull up, print off, fill out, and sign. We must have a signed application turned in to the county administrator's office by September 7th. At that time, as chair, I will have an individual interview with all the applicants, and then the applicants will appear before the executive committee on September 12th at 4:30 in the afternoon, and we'll inform them as such. Thank you. Anything else, sir? All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry.
Oh, if Chuck wants to go.
Member Erickson?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did want to reference here that we did have the people from the McLean County History Museum. And on the east side of the History Museum, there are names inscribed on there that have veterans that served from McLean County in World War II. About 10 years ago, I had spoke to someone at an event at the museum, and he was a young man when his father was drafted and sent over to Europe to fight. And he went over to fight, and he was killed in the Hurtgen Forest. And I had advised him that I was going over to Belgium and that I was going over to the Hurtgen Forest, and then I'd be happy to stop by the Henry Chappelle American Cemetery in Belgium to take a picture of his father's grave. So he had never seen his father's grave, and he'd never been over to Belgium. And so I think that I just want to point that out, that, you know, it seems like a little insignificant thing that there are names out there of people's veterans who have died, but it's important to family members, and they appreciate it. And I just want to tell the liaison to our the History Museum that keep maintaining it. Thank you for keeping it maintained. So.
Thank you, Member Erickson. We do have memorials for war veterans all over this community, even back to the Civil War era as well at Miller Park, and Vietnam Veterans Memorial as well at Miller Park. And thank you for pointing that out. It's always nice to be able to visit these areas and pay tribute as well. Any other comments or questions? Member Robustelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge a friend and someone who's been incredibly supportive of myself and somebody who I'm going to really miss on this county board, and that's Rich Buchanan. I met Rich over 5 years ago when I moved to this community, and I can tell you from the first time I met him, I was really not only in awe of the service that he had given back to this community, but his knowledge on the issues, his passion for encouraging younger people to be involved. And it's something that I hold very near and dear to me. It's one of the reasons I'm sitting here today. When I applied for this seat, Rich was very, very supportive of my application. There have been times where I've gotten out of line and said some things or voted on some things that he didn't agree with, and he always treated me with respect. He always treated everyone that he came across with respect. And I just want to say personally, I know he thanked us, but I want to say thank you, Rich. I really appreciate it.
Thank you again. We all share in those expressions as well. Thank you. I have bills to pay today in the amount of $7,906,470.34. They've been reviewed and recommended for payment by the auditor. Motion by Member Murphy, second by Member Cavallini. Comments or questions about the bills? If none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.